you the
Thanks.
Okay, so officially welcome to this brand new webinar on 10 mistakes that first-time authors make and how to overcome them. Very briefly, because we are going to be here for an hour and we want to get through it for you. A lot of the time I talk, and my webinars tend to be way more than an hour. But I'm going to be as succinct as possible because I really wanted to I'll look back on the last 10 plus years that we have been doing this. And the common things I see around mindset, around time, around publishing, around sales and marketing, and I kind of picked out the top 10 mistakes that I see being made over and over and over that hold people behind from publishing their books. And I really wanted to share what they are, and not just me share, but my team of book strategists here. So my husband, Stuart, will be sharing one of the 10. Scylla, my book strategist over in Tweed Head, she'll be sharing one of the 10. And they're the ones that they most commonly seen their roles in what they do. And then Wendy, my book strategist over in Brisbane, she's also going to share one with you guys as well. And I'll do the other 7. And hopefully you can let me know if there's one that you kind of been struggling with. I'll let you know as we go through the numbers so you can take some notes, but I also have a sheet of notes that I'm happy to send out with the recording afterwards. So you have all the neat note taking. I didn't want to share PowerPoint slides on this seminar. I will probably do a little intro in terms of who we are, but I just wanted to connect with you, and that's why I would love to see you on camera if possible to connect as well. All right, so briefly, who are we? We're Ultimate 48-Hour Author. I've been around 14 years in business. I started out as a life coach because we had a shit hit the fan moment where Stuart lost a franchise business. And it was like, what are we going to do now? So I went and became a life coach. And in order to grow that life coaching business, I ended up writing my first book, which was the 7 Ultimate Secrets to Weight Loss. And that's the book that was the defining moment that moved me from one client to a 6-figure business since the book came out. From there on in, I realized how powerful book writing was in building your credibility and also having another tool that turned, well, I was really, as a life coach, selling hot air, as I like to say. So having something tangible, made it a lot more valuable in terms of how people perceived me. And so one weekend, about book or 3 or 4 in, I decided to go away and write a book in a weekend with a girlfriend of mine. And we did that and realized that, shit, if I can do half a book in 3 hours on a weekend, maybe I can reverse engineer this process and show people how to do a book, full book in 48 hours. And then I'll briefly share a couple of slides. We launched and announced the first 48-hour author retreat, which was 10 years ago at the Mornington Peninsula. And from there, once the first group of people got their books in a group book launch, March 2014, they, everyone kind of was curious, how do you do it? How do you do it? From there, about 2017, we went to the US. We did a couple of tours there with Las Vegas retreat and a Middle Eastern partnership for 2 years, 28 physical retreats pre the pandemic days. And as of yesterday, we have just completed 20 virtual retreats, which has been really, really rewarding. And we celebrated our 10 years since running this business. And so I've done 14 books, had a lot of publicity, won awards for book writing. And this is my gorgeous family who's now grown up. This is us on the bottom right. We work hard, we play hard, and we absolutely live the life of our dreams and help people who just when we help others achieve their dreams, and that's what I always say, you help enough people achieve their dreams, your dreams get taken care of. And I can't tell you the amount of times that people have either said, you've changed my life, you've saved my life, I couldn't have done it without you. And really, truly what I believe happiness boils down to is that feeling of contribution. When we contribute to other people, when we solve other people's problems, we ultimately become happy, right? And so today, I really, really, really want to inspire you, if anything, to take action on your book writing dreams, but also to avoid the mistakes we've observed over the last 10 years in what people have done. So we're going to start in a logical sequence. We're going to start with the mindset, because that's really, if I can tell you, the biggest mistake that people make is like the fact that they can't get out of their own way and get over themselves to actually finally write the book. The other things are just process, but certainly, so the second one is then time. Like, what are the time mistakes people make? Then it's publishing. What are the publishing mistakes people make? And then it's sales and marketing, right? And so it kind of goes through that in that order, because that's where those are the obstacles that you would have to overcome as you go through all of this. So welcome to lots of you who have just been joining in as I'm introducing myself. This is being recorded and it's also being live streamed in our Facebook fan page. So if you're really keen and you can't wait to get the recording, you can go even straight to our Ultimate 48 Author fan page and watch afterwards again if you've missed the beginning. My team's going to share some comments and let us know where in the world you're calling in from. And lovely to connect you. And if I haven't met you before at my signature seminar before, there'll be an opportunity if you'd like to join us next week for another round of Nat teaching, if you've never done that one before. All right, so let's begin with number one. So we're going to tackle a couple of mindset mistakes that I see very, very commonly repeated. I'll do one and Scylla's going to do the second one, and then we'll move on to time. So the number one mindset mistake that people make is when they sit there and they go and think, how am I any different? I mean, so many books have been written on this topic, or so many people might have had a story similar to mine and all that sort of stuff. So people don't progress in writing their book because they think they need to be some kind of special person or have a special story, or they have to be so niched or specific, right? And what I'm here to tell you is that each and every one of us on this call here has our own unique flavor. Yeah. My very first book was The 7 Ultimate Secrets to Weight Loss. Like, how many weight loss books have been written out there in the world? Probably more than any other niche out there. However, I still went about and did that weight loss book, because what I always say to people is no one can take the you out of your story and out of your experiences and how you will share the information out there. So how do you overcome this is to embrace your own flavor. Yeah, we all have a flavor, and some people are going to like us and some people are not going to like us, and that's common in my world. Do you know how many emails when people come to my seminars I will get? Like, oh, I didn't like your squeaky voice, or whatever. You spoke too fast, and they say all this stuff, and, and it's like, it's okay. It's okay. If I'm not for you, go find someone else that is for you. So you got to think about that, about your book and your expertise. Even if you're an expert in a field where there's lots of other experts, right? And that's kind of a good sign. If there are actually lots of people doing what you want to do, that's a good sign that there is a niche there, that there is a market there. But one thing is, embrace your flavor and make sure that you believe that no one can do you. So when I think about my program, 48 Hour Author, people have blatantly tried to copy me over the years. But at the end of the day, I go, that's flattering. But also at the same time, no one can do the Natasha Denman style, and that's what people come to work with me, and they'll work with others moving forward. So I'm going to now throw across to Scylla. And Scylla is going to talk about the second mindset block that she sees all the time, because Scylla's got a big also background as a coach and a mindset behavioralist. I just gave you a new title, Scylla. But she's gone very deep with hypnotherapy and coaching people and all that sort of stuff. And this is the second mindset block she sees. So go ahead.
Beautiful. Thanks so much, Nat. Welcome, everybody. So great to see you all here today. And welcome to those that are watching the replay or live on Facebook. Fantastic to have you here. So the second mistake that we see is focusing on criticism of others, getting caught up in what others are thinking, and perhaps coming in and feeling like an imposter. But really what other people think of us is none of our business, because what matters is what we think of us. And if we've got something to say and a message to give out to people who may need it, and those people, I find all the time in my coaching that the people who need to hear the guidance or the messages or whatever, they will find it. And it's just amazing how much change and how much positive things that you can do by not focusing on what some people, even your family members, sometimes criticize, and and it's not good. So it's really, yeah, just do you, and that's the important thing. So you've got to get out of your own way there. And really, when it comes to some like self-sabotage, negative mind talk or self-talk, the imposter syndrome, the key thing there is really to be super clear on your why. Why am I writing this book? What is my end goal? What is the message that I need to get out there to help people who may have been in a similar situation, a challenging situation, or just pure inspiration? We get so many authors with a variety of goals and messages, that even the good stories, people who've had a beautiful life, how inspiring is that? It's like, and it's 100% positive and possible for everyone to do that, provided you've got the right mindset. So it's really important to know your why, and just go from there. Really, it's super fun. Once you get your why, things become a lot clearer. So it's having that clarity that really, really helps us to write, even to start to write. So that's my little piece of advice here, Nat, on that second mistake of thinking of or getting caught up in others' opinions of us.
Yeah, perfect. And I love the comments that Stuart's popped in the chat there. The only people that criticize us are those that are either jealous or want to keep us from where you are and not grow or succeed, so they aren't left behind. Also, another thing Stuart is known for saying often is no one's ever going to criticize you that is at your same level or above where you are. People that say the other things, it's because they're hurting themselves, and we really need to know that. I don't have time to share this a story from my past, but yeah, there was someone that seriously tried to sabotage me, and the short story of it is that 6 months after they did that, they actually rang me up and told me that it was all about them and that they were hurting and that they were jealous. Actually, they had said those words. They didn't reveal their identity, but they phoned and talked to me on the phone under an unknown number to tell me that's exactly what happened. All right. So imposter syndrome is common to everybody, even myself. You might see me as confident, as, well put together, whatever. People think I'm perfect. No, that is not true. I'm not perfect. I like to do things fast. I say done is better than perfect. That's my kind of motto in life. 90% of something is better than 100% of nothing. Let's keep moving on and doing the do. So that's kind of how I live. But definitely, I have moments where I have I'm a fraud. I don't think what I do is valuable and all this sort of stuff. And then it's like, go and read all your testimonials, go and read all your reviews. And then I have a little folder that keeps that stuff into, and then it gets me out of it. So every single one of us is not immune to the imposter syndrome. I did a funny reel. Go and follow my TikTok. My daughter's been helping me do reels, but about I use that guy Stop It, Bob Newhart. That video? I don't know. Just Google it. Stop it. Yeah, right. And we threw in segments of that with my daughter. And when my video says, oh, I suffer from imposter syndrome, and Bob Newhart says, oh, that's all right. Where he shares about cleaning his hands. I love it. All right, let's move on to time. And time, I've got 3 here mistakes that I see being made all the time. And my first mistake, you might want to write this down, is misalignment of values. Misalignment of values. So you know how people say, I don't have the time, or it's not the right time to write a book? Okay, now this one I do cover off a lot in my signature seminar that we almost do weekly, but I want to refresh for some of you. So why do people say they don't have enough time, or they don't, it's not the right time? It's not because they don't have the time, because when something is important enough, you figure it out. You find the time, you find the money, you find the people that need to support you, you make the gap and you work it out. So if you think about human values, right? In our lives, every single one of us here on this call, will have things that they prioritize or will do first above everything else, right? And so in your top 3 values, you might have health, you might have travel, you might have business, education, family, whatever it is, right? And so whatever it is in those top 3 values, you will do first, and you will spend most of your time and money there, right? So if writing a book has been sitting on value number 7, 8, 15, guess what? You're never going to find the time or say it's the right time to do this, because you're always going to prioritize the top 3. So what's the solution to this? Every single one of us also can consciously decide what we prioritize at different times in our life. At different times of our life, different things become important, right? And if for you right now, writing a book is important, you need to consciously decide to push up writing a book from value 15 somewhere in your top 3. Doesn't have to be the top 1, but this is where you will find the time and you will make it, because that's going to be in your top 3 values. Now, the secret and the good news here, I've got some good news. You only need to put it there for a temporary period of time. The key word is temporary. Writing a book is a temporary pain in the butt. Once you have done it, you benefit from it for life. Because for those of you who are here writing your very first book, one of my famous quotes that I always share is that writing your first book is not about the book. It's actually about the person you become at the other end of it. Yeah. And probably Susie and Tanya, I can see that these are ladies that we worked with. Susie's onto her 3rd book now, and Tanya's about to finish her first one. Amanda's about to start her first one. So there's a few of our clients on the call that have logged in for some refreshers. But, they can confirm for you, it's very much about the personal development journey you actually go on. So your first one, it's about that transformation that you occur. When I got my first book, when I looked at it, I go, oh my God, that's me. I'm so proud of myself. And it's like I grew 3 inches taller. And then people said, I want to have what you're having. And that's when things started to kind of happen. So you need to push up writing your book in your top 3 values for a temporary period of time. And then you're not going to say it's not the right time. It's not the right, I don't have the time. I don't have the money, which gets me into the 4th mistake. The 4th mistake, waiting for the finances to become available. Waiting for finances to become available, right? Usually when it's not in our top 3 values, waiting for our ducks to line up to say yes, when I get more clients, when I make more money, when this comes through, I will do that. That is a strategy for procrastination. Yeah. Because what we're doing is we're playing out the perfectionist. Everything needs to be perfect. Think about the last time you did something significant in your life. Were you ready to do it? Because the best time to do something is when you're not ready. And usually the best time we do something is because there's a catalyst or a crisis in our life. Why did I start this journey? Because my husband lost the business, right? Remember when the pandemic hit? Like, I was an offline event business. You know what that did to event businesses? And I never believed my business would work online. I had a limiting belief that my business, what I do, people won't buy online. They need to meet me. They need to touch me. They need to see that I'm real, right? And what happened was my back's up against the wall, crisis, the pandemic. I've got no way to go about it. What am I going to wait for the ducks? Imagine if I waited for the pandemic to blow over, like most people thought it was going to take 6 to 8 weeks. I didn't wait. I literally did a Zoom recording. I said, everyone, we're just doing it on Zoom. And I was crap the first 5 or 6 goes, and I hated it and all that, but I just kept doing it because I had no other option. So it's creating the gap. So when we wait for finances or whatever other conditions need to be perfect, time and finances usually are the 2 excuses each and every one of us, including me, will say to stop ourselves from taking progress on a particular goal. I remember when I've been faced with many, many 5-figure investment decisions with mentors, with programs. I never went to do those programs and join those mentors when everything was absolutely amazing. It was when there was crisis, I needed help, and I didn't have the money. And I would go, oh my God. And my little voice in the back of my head Well, always the first thing our little voice will say, it's not the right time. I don't have the money. I can't afford it. And then what I do, because I've done the coaching and the psychology background, I go, Natasha, you know, this is not about time or money. You know, there's usually an underlying reason to that excuse every single time. And so every single time when I ask myself that, what's this really all about? And you know what my little voice always says? Am I willing to do the work? So if, like, you know, because obviously if I invest in this thing, if I say yes to this mentor opportunity program, maybe like there's going to be hard work, right? I'm going to have to step out of my comfort zone. I'm going to have to do like, you know, sacrifice some of my social time or relaxing time to move forward, right? So it was never about the time or the money. It was like, am I willing to do the work? Because you know what? If I do the work, I know I'm going to get return on investment. And every single time, this is what I say to people. Ask yourself that little question. Is it about time or money? Or is there something else? Is it that you actually believe, you know, I don't think this is possible for me, or I don't think I can succeed the way other people have succeeded? You know, like kind of all of those little things. Maybe did you do something in the past that you didn't follow through, and that's why you're not, you know, actually taking action on this next thing. Yeah. Sometimes we have a lot of women in our community, and they have to go talk to their husband, and their husband doesn't approve or whatever it is. And the reason is sometimes because, you know, they've invested in other things in the past and then they didn't take action. So why is this going to be any different? So then they get that block from their family and the support. So don't wait for the ducks to line up. I'm going to share one final story from nature, and that is the mother duck and its baby ducklings. Have you ever seen a mother duck and its baby ducklings like so follow behind her? Isn't it so cute? So if you think in this life, we are the mother duck, right? We're in charge. We're going along life, right? And if you watch nature, it is only when the mother duck changes direction, let's say she decides to cross the path here, do the little ducklings start to go back behind her and line back up. And then she goes, I'm going to go here now. And then they do the same thing, right? They start walking behind her properly. So use that as a metaphor. I don't care if this information I'm sharing today, it's linked up obviously to authoring and mistakes authors make, but I think it has a bigger message also for our life, right? And so our ducks only line up when we say yes, and then we work out the how. Yeah, it's only when we make that gap do they line up and we progress. All right, my fifth mistake around time is not blocking dedicated, focused time for working on your book. So people go, oh, I'm just going to wait when everything, like, again, the ducks to line up to find the time and the weekends and the days to do the book writing. But, you know, for those of you that haven't heard a story, my very first book was written because I scheduled two-hour writing blocks in my week per view diary, 2-hour writing blocks, and I set a goal that I was going to do 7 pages a week in those 4 hours. And in 80 days, it was completed. Because I not only chose to block them out and put them, what gets scheduled gets done. But the second thing is I made a rule. And that rule was that I need to treat them as if they're paying clients. Because we show up for paying clients, don't we? And so you need to show up for yourself, because ultimately you will get money because your book will come out and you'll get paid. So you've got to treat it as a paid project, right? And for those of you that might be going, oh, you know, I just want to get picked up by a traditional publisher. I'll tell you a few little insights what I've learned, that how much more expensive traditional publishing is compared to self-publishing. Even though if a traditional publisher accepts you, they still, you still have upfront costs that you guys may not be aware of. I actually found out some of these secrets a couple of weeks ago from one of my authors who's 10 years on since her self-published book, and she's now going down this traditional publishing route. And she goes, I've spent way more money than when I invested in your program, and I'm nowhere near being accepted. There's other things that I've become aware of. All right, so let's move on to now publishing. Great segue into publishing. And mistake number 6. Okay, mistake number 6 is doing it by yourself, trying to save money. Okay, doing it by yourself, trying to save money. And why I know this is a mistake is because doing this for 10 years, I see people coming to my seminar and they say, I put something together and upload it on Kindle Direct Publishing, KDP, the Amazon thing, and it's not working. Nothing's happening. And I don't know why it's not working. And I go, yeah, show me the link. Let me see your book. And I look at it, and it's like, you can see that it's been done on maybe in Canva or whatever they've used, they've put together. And there are different levels of quality when you think about publishing. And if you do not publish properly, people can see and notice it. There were 2 books in my personal trainer, where I go to twice a week. There was one of the clients there I've worked with, and there was our published book. And then there was another lady who runs a Pilates studio at the same place, and there was someone else's author who hadn't worked for me. And you compare these 2 books, you can tell which one's like really poor quality, and you can tell which one looks like it's a traditionally published book. So a lot of people trying to save money produce products that take away from their credibility. So at a very minimum, if you're confident enough to write, structure, and create your book by yourself, at least buy a proper publishing package from a company that's going to help you go through all the steps properly. So you want to produce a self-published book that feels and looks like a traditionally published book, right? Because that's when people don't know the difference, right? Whether, and that's where your credibility increases. And then if you have like your company's name at the back of your book. So our publishing arm is called Ultimate World Publishing. So that's what goes on the back of our authors' books. It feels like a global company has published you, and it's not just your name, because a lot of people who self-publish, they don't put they might put their own name at the back of the book, and that's like a complete giveaway. Or the worst thing, which is what happened at the personal trainer studio with that book, only a barcode, no other branding, no other company, stark white paper. Stark white paper is a true sign that this book was self-published. You want to use that cream paper, that kind of the off-white paper that the traditional publishers use, right? And so saving money ultimately can cost you a lot of money, because then what happens sometimes when people meet us, oh, can we redo it? Can we start from scratch? And then we're literally like kind of wiping the slate clean and then going and beginning from the start. And Stuart in a moment is going to share with you guys the 5 critical things that people get wrong and why they do it, because they do it all by themselves. Yeah. It might hurt at the front end financially, but at the back end, every time you're going to win, because you've done it properly and people perceive you, as someone who's done things of great quality, right? So don't do it on the cheap, So what's cheap? Well, people are trying to publish a book for under $1,000. I mean, you can't even get that book edited properly for that, under $1,000. Where's the layout? Where's the cover creation? Where's the ISBN, the barcode, all of the other things, the steps, the uploads that you've got to do, they're not aware of. So they do a half-assed job. Okay. All right. So I'm going to throw to Wendy now, and she's going to talk to us about mistake number 7, and that is not doing proper due diligence on the company that you choose to publish your book. And I can share the screen if you want me to, Wendy, as you go through that.
So hi, everyone. Great to have you here. Doing due diligence, I don't know whether you make a big decision in your life, you actually want to research properly about doing that. So when I met Nat 6 years ago, I actually looked at her website. I went and looked at a few things on her YouTube. I wanted to know that I was actually potentially going to be working with someone with high credibility. So I've got 3 key steps for you, and you can write these down as I talk to them, and I'll summarize at the end. But the first thing is you're writing your own book. These are your own words. You want to turn them in and you want to navigate them to a path that you want to take direction with. So for me, owning the intellectual property from my book was really important. I wanted to know with 100% assurance that I was going to own that intellectual property. Now, we've heard, I've been with Nat now for 2.5 years. We've heard that going with other publishers, there may be a contract there. So read the fine print there about who actually owns the intellectual property at the end of the process. The second key tip is once you've joined that company for either the mentoring or the publishing and or both, that you want to be rest assured that that company is going to do the right thing by your personal details. Are they actually going to follow you up with spammy marketing or on-selling and really hit you frequently after you've made that contract consignment or finished for further packages and sales and marketing? So just make sure that you ask them up front, am I going to be on a mailing list that potentially is going to be circulated? The third thing is have an opportunity or ask that publisher or mentor, can I speak to your authors? Now we have a website, and I think Nat's going to put this up on the screen at the moment. It's called writeabook.com.au, and on that website, on the tab that says bookshelf, it will give you the categories or the genres of books that we have published. And I think we're pretty up to date, Nat. We've got about 820 books on that website, and you through social media contacts can reach out to any of our authors and talk to them about their experience with working with us. So the third tip there is, is that company transparent enough to show you the website and show you their books so that you can make direct contact? So I'll recap on those 3 points. The first thing is around intellectual property. Am I going to get my print ready file back at the end? And am I going to have the rights to the information I'm about to give out to the world so that I can navigate my own journey? The second thing is about marketing follow-up. Is my name in confidence with your company just going to be used for your company's internal communication and content, or is it going to be used for ongoing marketing and follow-up? And the third thing, can I have an opportunity, or can you show me or direct me to a website or some point of contact where I can speak directly to the authors that you've worked with? I'd really love to have a bit of an insider's information. Now you may say, oh, but the reviews on that website are good, or the reviews on their social media pages are good. There's nothing like having a personal conversation for that connection and for that three-dimensional view, trust your intuition to get to know that author and get from their heart their true experience. So they're my 3 key tips to do your due diligence.
Thank you so much, Wendy. And we've gone as far as the last couple of years introducing into our agreement a 30-day money-back guarantee, because what we want is for our people is to feel safe, to go inside our private community of 850 authors and talk to those authors. They're all there who've been through the journey at some point over the last 10 years. And we actually tell you, do it, and in addition, like Wendy said, certainly Google reviews, Facebook pages, my LinkedIn profile, go read stuff there of what other people are saying. But yes, nothing replaces that personal conversation that you can have with another author. Because why I introduced this and why I share this is because of the mistake I made. I made the mistake at the beginning of my first book, not asking, do I get my print ready file? So I had to republish. The second thing is they, to this day, 13 years later, they still harass me with phone calls trying to sell me done for you publishing packages priced at $15,000 to $50,000 and they won't get my phone or email off their lists. And the third thing is I did not talk to one of their clients, because if I had, because over the years, then people who've signed up with this company have come to my seminars. They go, oh my God, Nat, that's what's happening to me now. I'm stuck. It's like, I wish I met you earlier. So that's why we share these 3 things. And that's why when we created our own publishing company 7 years ago, we go, how can we be different? And how can we make people feel safe? Because we are a family business. We really, truly only work with 100 authors each year. And this is pretty much the size of our support course. Yesterday, our retreat had 19 authors. All of our team was there. Over the last 3 days, we were doing the the work together. So we keep it at a particular size to make sure that everyone feels we're accessible and we're not somewhere, oh, this is the founder of the business and I never get to speak to them. That's kind of our flavor. Our values are fun, fast, fame, and family. And we're all about the F words. So I want to go into a little bit of detail what I started to talk about earlier, but mistake number 8 is focusing on just traditional publishing. Like sometimes I meet people and they go, nah, traditional publishing and nothing else. And they put the blinkers on. Because yes, in today's, in the world, the most prestigious way to be published is through a traditional publisher. Your Hay House, Wiley, Simon & Schuster, all of those kind of companies, Penguin and all that. But it is also a very unlikely route for a first-time author. So unlikely, it's probably you need to be in the 0.0001% of people that would ever get considered as a first-time author to be traditionally published. Why? Because they're not looking at the quality of your writing, you guys. They're looking at the size of your followers and your network. How marketable are you? Because a traditional publisher is a business at the end of the day. If they don't see that they can profit, why would they put the resources and the money into pulling the book together if they're not going to be almost guaranteed that they're going to make lots of book sales? And yes, traditional publishers keep 85% to 95% of the royalties. An author will only get 5 to 15%. That's teeny tiny. Imagine how many books you have to sell to at that 5% level. And it's only the celebrities that probably get about 15%, right? So the other thing that I learned, so as I said, a couple of weekends ago over the Anzac Day weekend, I got to spend 3 days with some girlfriends who actually originally were my authors. We've just become this is why we say it's family. Like some of my authors become all just like distant cousins or aunties and, sisters and all that sort of stuff. So I had this opportunity with 3 girlfriends, 3 of them actually. The third one is a sister of an author. One was an author at my retreat number 2, 10 years ago. And the second was an author like about 7 or 8 years ago. Both had built 7-figure businesses behind their books. And so Helen Meiches, who wrote the book at the second retreat, for the last 18 months, she contacted me and she said, Nat, I'm writing my next book, but the reason I'm going to go through you is because I want to do the traditional publishing route. For me, this is what I want to do. And I said, okay, Helen, this is kind of some of the tips. I said, it takes 3 years once you get accepted. It they generally own the rights, so you will be probably selling like your rights will be theirs, and it'll be 6 figures if you want to write them, and they'll be in full control of the whole process. But as long as you kind of want to do that, and you're after maybe the exposure or the prestige of it, go for it. And so then we met for this weekend 2 weeks ago, and one of the mornings, she said, "Do you want me to tell you what I've been through so far? Because there's a lot more that I have found out." And I'm like, okay, I'd love to. Can I press record on my phone? Because this could be really valuable information for the people that like kind of I work with. Like they want to go traditional publishing, but I know it's not kind of the best thing to do when you're first time authoring. And so we recorded a 20-minute interview. In the next 6 or 7 days, watch out for my emails from the database. I'm going to send the transcript of this interview plus a link to actually listen to the interview with her. But the main things I found out is she had to come up with a query letter to pitch to an agent that cost her $500. That was, all right, that's not a big deal, right? The next thing after that, she needed to pull together a book proposal document that is a requirement by traditional publishers that cost her $5,000, 20,000 word book proposal. And then her book has had to go through 3 or 4 editing rounds, which she has had to fund herself. And all of these other things. So she goes to this point, I'm $15,000 in and nowhere near pitching to a traditional publisher through this agent that is helping me and all that kind of stuff. And she goes, I don't know how long the process is going to take. But, because people think traditional publisher, oh, they like my book, they're going to pay for the publishing, I sit back, they'll market and promote me. But in reality, that's not what truly happens. You got to do so many other things before you even get looked at. So what she's doing now, she goes, now I'm entering Hay House competitions and it's a long shot, but I'm entering with these proposals and all that sort of stuff, to see if I can, I've got, and she's also, no. And another thing she said, I've had to pay for my membership with Hay House, which is $200 a month in order to be able to enter the competitions. So just stack on these 4 or 5 different things. And by the end of it, I want to see her a traditional publisher. Of course, I'd be so proud of her and all that sort of stuff. But it's very, very unlikely for a first-time author. One of my authors did get approached by a traditional publisher, so that's a good thing that can happen. So what happened is Amy wrote a book with me about 7 years ago on decluttering. It was called Simply Organized. And so, but what Amy did in the following 7 years before being approached by a traditional publisher, she created an amazing podcast. You can look it up. It's called The Art of Decluttering. And then she created a massive Facebook group. I don't even know how many. I know it's over 100,000 members. And amazing. She's got a company from being, let me look it up, The Art of Decluttering. Art of Decluttering community. Here we go. 120,000. That's something new. 120,000 members, right? Now, this is what a traditional publisher wants to look at. What's your following? What's your, kind of sellability, marketability and all that sort of stuff. And Amy's podcast gets listened to. So she went from a solo personal organizer. She has a team of 36, and now they're looking at her and approaching her. So there's these 2 different routes. Build your following, which takes a lot of time and effort, right? And then hopefully they knock on your door, or Helen's gone out there and trying to kind of get them to notice her with all of the things that she's doing. So that's my number 8 mistake that I see, is just people who put their blinkers on and think traditional publishing is saving money and that they don't have to spend any money. It's not true. So let's move on to the last 2, and I'm going to throw now to Stuart. The last 2 are on sales and marketing. I'll give you guys a summary, and I've got my notes. I'll email them to you. I didn't want to do a slide share because I really wanted to connect with your faces. I hate sometimes, I love Zoom, but I hate when you share your slides, you can't see everyone properly, and I've got you all in a grid. I can see every person here. So Stuart's going to talk a little bit about a mistake people make in sales and marketing, and then I'll give you the 10th one. So I'll throw it to you, Stuart.
Beautiful. Thank you. All right. So one of the things I just add on with Nat talking about traditional publishing, one of the things that you lose is your creative license. So because they are taking on, if you are lucky enough to get one of their gigs, they will call the book whatever they want to call it. They will have the blurb however they want to have it. They'll have the cover however they want to have it. So you lose all of those control things. Now, of course, that makes sense because they're the big boys in this field and they should know what the market is going to look for. So that comes down to my number 1 point in this mistake that people make, is that they're not clear on who their target market is. They actually spend very little time understanding and working out who their primary, sometimes it'll be a secondary and third target market, but what are they looking for? What problems are they facing? Especially, look, our domain is non-fiction books. Okay, that is where we specialize, and that's where we can give people the best advice. So if you are writing a book on your life or something that you've been through or overcome, or you've been able to escape abuse, or you've been able to get through a cancer diagnosis, whatever it is, people are always interested in, well, what's in it for them? Yes, they're going to learn through your story, but it can't just be your story if you're not looking back, well, I also did this and I tried this and I wish I had have known this. You can write with hindsight. So normally your target market is the person that you were when you first started going through or having the same problem that you're writing about. A very big thing, because once you know what their issues are and what the thing that's keeping them up at night, what's the magic wand that they want, it's so much easier to put your book in front of them to maximize sales, have more people read it, because they're just going to look at this and go, this is exactly what I need. So how do you do that? Well, once you know who they are, becomes a lot easier to make sure that your title is very, very appealing to them. Best practice is 2 to 6 words with your title, okay? There are outliers on that, but that works really well for design features and everything. You can either be very specific with your title about what actual problem it's solving, or you need to make it curiosity-based, again, depending on your market and what you know they're going to respond to. There's a made-up word that go with it. It's called unwalk-pastable. So if they see it, they've got to have to pick this up because the title has just grabbed their attention. All non-fiction books also need to have a tagline. So I think of that as a strap line, it can be called in the UK, but a subtitle, your tagline is, think of it as your secondary title. It's how you can use extra words, still being very succinct in it. It doesn't want to be long, maybe about 10 words, but you can use keywords in it, which is going to help Google and Amazon algorithm find it. You could have a word if your book's around cancer, but you want to put maybe melanoma, not in the title, but in the tagline. When people are searching for it, they're still going to find it because tagline is considered part of the title. You can also call out the target market. So if you know your target market is a specific subset, maybe the busy mum's guide to the first homeowners, blah, blah, right? You're calling out who the market is. So again, think if you're a busy mum or a first homeowner, you see this book, it's solving a problem, bang, they can identify it's for them, they're going to buy it, they're going to read it. Cover design. Also, this is unfortunately where we meet people, they hand us their books. Nat's already talked about it. It's been done in their garage. It's been done on Canva. They've scribbled something down. It's not relevant to what their target market is. Their target market would respond to something totally different. Are you going to use a word-only cover depending on genre and niche? You're going to use images. You're going to use you on the cover if you want to build a business. There are so many things to consider. Now, the blurb as well, you've got to get that right, because if you don't connect in the first 3 lines of your blurb, so that's the bit that goes on the back, the chances of someone reading your book or buying it drop by 65%. So you got to get the blurb right. You only get 180 words on that. So every word matters. Meet them where they're at, cover off their pain points, give them a summary of what they've got. Sometimes we get handed books that don't even have a blurb, can you believe? And they wonder why it's not selling. And then, of course, your chapter titles as well. Your chapter titles are important, not just because it will be more interesting if someone's scanning through and seeing what they're going to be covering off, what they're going to be learning. It makes them more appealing to, yeah, if it's interesting, I definitely want to read about that. I want to know what it is. But also you can leverage it so much better. You can get it out there into the big wide world, have your content read where other people are absorbing their content, such as podcasts, pitches to the media, parts of an online program, keynote speeches, lead magnets. There's so many things you can do with it. So they're the parts that you got to get right. I'd love to go into more detail, but that is it for now. So focus, know your market, make sure you get a great title that's appealing, get a good, strong tagline, your cover design's on point. It's done by a professional. Your blurb is written to appeal to everybody that your market is identified as. And your chapter titles are, as Nat says, they're sexy. They're named really well to make people appealing to them. Back to you, my dear.
Thank you so much. And guys, Stuart does do a slightly longer teach on this in our signature seminar. So if some of you have never been to our 2-hour seminar, we are running one next Tuesday, 9 till 11 Melbourne time. So I'm not sure, it'll be a Monday if you're in the US. If you've never been to that, I'll get Lindy to post the link. You can register free. That one's also free. Or you can revisit it. Like Susie said earlier, I'm just revisiting and rehearing some things, maybe, just to refresh. But we've got mistake number 10 to go through it and then summarize them. Mistake number 10 is also related to sales and marketing, and that is thinking just by having a book, it'll sell itself. Yeah. Sometimes people go, oh, I'm going to write a book, and just everyone's just going to flock to buying it, and that's just like it's all magically going to happen. So I say the book is not the magic bullet. You are the magic bullet. Your passion, your connection with people, your energy and enthusiasm behind your story and what you do is what's going to attract people to ultimately get your book. So you need to add, how do you overcome it? You need to learn to like sales and marketing. Yeah, you don't have to love it, but you need to be open to doing it in your flavor, right? Some people are very pushy, other people are very soft and kind, and both of those types of personalities can be successful as long as they have their passion behind their book, right? And so, and you know what, in today's world, it's not about buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. Add value, add value, add value. That's what actually in today's world we see. It takes 10 to 12 hours of content consumption before someone is ready to buy from you, right? So are they reading your books? Are they reading your posts on social media? Are they receiving your emails? Are they listening to your podcast? Whatever it is, right? And so I mean, with this webinar today, you guys are spending 1 hour out of those 12 hours with us. Maybe some of you already spent 2 hours at my signature seminar. Maybe you've been on my database for a long time, right? And so, you know how many times it turns out, I mean, Amanda, if I can use you as an example, you were at the seminar, right, December last year. I think, oh, hang on, let me just take you off mute. Come off mute. Let's use Amanda as a bit of a example. Hey, sorry, were you at the December? Give me a little bit of your backstory with us.
No, actually, I don't know anything about the seminar in December, but you sent me emails every day for about 3 months.
Right.
And I read them and I read them.
There you
and for about 2 years, I've wanted to write a particular book, which was about my grandmother's being Mayoress of Richmond back in 1960. And after listening to your seminars, I realised that that wasn't the right book for me to write. I needed to write something that I was involved with now, something that was passionate about, on my heart. And so, just listening to you every day.
Yeah. So you did end up, in fact, kind of spending the 10 to 12 hours with me by reading emails and listening to things, right? Yeah, perfect. Thank you for confirming that for me. I'll just pop you back on mute. So what I'm trying to say here is that sales of books or programs, or if you have a business behind what you do, doesn't magically occur from one time that you tell people this is what I have, right? It's through adding value. So like for us, connecting regularly with people, staying in touch. And you know what? You know, Amanda could have gotten sick of my emails and maybe I wasn't relevant or she didn't connect with me. She could have unsubscribed, but that's not a bad thing, right? That's not a bad thing because then there's not a match. It's okay. Unsubscribes are a good thing. It means you're doing enough marketing and sales, and the ones that really like your stuff and resonate and love learning from you, they will continue on. The others will find somebody else, or simply book writing is no longer on their or what they want to do, and so they unsubscribe. So I never take anything personally, but I will not stop adding value, connecting with people, and sharing my energy, enthusiasm, and passion for how much I believe this would change your life, right? So please, you know, there's so much to do once the book comes out. And I love teaching that stuff. I actually want to more so, I think, writing the book, let's get in, let's do it. But where I really come into my strengths is like, what do we do with it now? Like, how do we tell people? How do we add value to people? How do we engage them with us? So let's summarize, right? We're going into a mindset mistake. Number one is thinking, how am I any different? So embrace your own flavor. And you know, no one can take the you out of your business. Mindset number two, which still I covered off, is the imposter syndrome, focusing on criticism. You are the only one that needs to be happy with what you have done. And others, it's not their task. It's not their business. Let them do them. You do you. Number three was around time, misalignment of values. Temporary period of time, push it up in your top 3 values, you'll figure out, and it will be the right time then. Number 4 was waiting for finances. The ducks to line up. You got to say yes, then work out the how. Number 5 was not blocking the dedicated time blocks, treating them as paying clients, right? Do that twice a week, 2 hours. You're gonna get that big elephant of writing a book. You're gonna have it digested very, very quickly. Number 6, around publishing, moving into doing it yourself. To trying to save money, it's probably going to cost you a lot more time and money at the end of the day, and reworking and redoing it. So get at least someone to take you through publishing properly and to project manage you. Yeah? Number 7 was not doing your due diligence. So the tips Wendy shared with you around checking out the people, talking to their clients, making sure you get the rights and all that, especially if you're investing in it yourself. Number 8 was thinking traditional publishing is going to be just, you know, or solve all your problems, and thinking it's free, and it's not. And how much more is involved in this process. And Susie said, I'm so familiar with the story about traditional publishers, Nat. So she's confirming that. And then we moved into sales and marketing, number 9, which is what Stuart talked to you about, the 4 quality book, because you didn't get the 5 critical things right in it, like cover, title, tagline, blurb, and the chapter names. And last of all, number 10 was thinking that just by writing a book, it'll sell itself. You have to do the work moving forward in terms of how you can add value, that it takes 10 to 12 hours of content consumption for people to buy from you. It may seem overwhelming. Oh my God, like 10 to 12 hours, I can't do it. All that. You know what? It's all about consistent little steps. What, you know, batching content. So when I write my emails, Amanda, I write them in batches. Like I'll write, you know, 7 to 10 emails at once, and then I'll batch videos. So all my TikToks, they're going to come out for the next 4 weeks, once almost every Sunday. I just did them in a half an hour batch downstairs in my garage, and the bookshelf was behind me, so you can't tell I'm in a garage, but I batch everything, and then it's just drip feeds, and that saves so much time. So guys, if you have not been to our seminar, please come along next Tuesday. It is our signature seminar that's been running for the last 10 years. Consistently, I've done it over 400 times. But if you have been and you're ready to talk about your book, I'd love for you guys to invite those of you that are not working with us yet, of course. Those of you that are, we've already spoken to you. We've got all your action plans ahead. But there's some links that Lindy is going to pop into the chat box, because there's only one of me and I need my team nowadays to help me. And right now I'm also in a lot of post-seminar, post-retreat debriefs with my authors that have just completed a retreat. So Lindy's going to pop these links in the chat. And this is an opportunity to discuss your book project and what pathway may be the suitable pathway for you to take. Because we have a variety of different pathways that suit some people and don't suit other people for various reasons. And myself, Stuart, Wendy, and Silla are on deck this afternoon and early next week to talk you through what your goals are and how and when do you want to achieve them and how you can go about them, and give you options as well. I have done something clever as well. If you have got a phone near you, you can also scan these QR codes. This is the first time I've done this. I feel so smart. I go, if some people, I know some people are on a mobile device right now, but I know that some people on a computer and they probably have their phone handy. You might not find too much available on my link. That's why, because I am in post-retreat debriefs with my authors, making sure all their goals and where they're going. But you will definitely find lots which is available with Stu, Wendy, Silla, and anyone you talk to will tell you exactly the same thing. We're all working under the same umbrella. But what I want to do now is, actually, before I open up for some questions, and all that, let me stop sharing. Let me just get out of this for a sec. And I want to ask you, remember at the start I said I want to do these Power of 10 workshops. I did brainstorm another 7, and I wanted to do this once a month. So I'm going to give you the next 6 that I've brainstormed that I want to bring out like next month in June. I'm thinking 10 powerful time hacks to find time to finally write your book. 10 publishing insights every first-time author should know. 10 structured secrets to make your book a success. 10 powerful sales and marketing strategy for your book. 10 fear-busting mindset hacks to clear on your path to your first book. And 10 ways to protect yourself legally as an author and your content. So there's 2 through to 7, right? So which one? Have a vote in the chat. Let me see if I can make them a little bit bigger, this whole thing. I don't know how big is showing up on your end. There it is. So through 2 through to 7, which one would you prefer that we did for you guys in June? The time hacks, publishing, structure, sales, marketing, fear, and legal stuff. All right. So those are mine. So let me have a look now. Just see if you guys have had a little vote here. 7, protect legal stuff. All right. Come on, guys. So this is number 2. Let me just, this one is number 2. It keeps changing it. Maybe I can't change it to this one. All right, let's say insights. Okay, so we've got publishing from people, time hacks from someone. So 5, the variety, 2, 4, which one's 5? Sales and marketing, legal stuff, structure. Okay, a couple more, and then I can sort of, then I'll announce later what I've decided. Which one would you like? Legal. 4 for legal. looks like legal is might need to get a lawyer to come in with me as well, which I could probably organize as well. I love it. Awesome. Marketing secrets. Okay. Sounds like sales and marketing and legal are the two. All right. I'll see what I can do. Actually, I might actually also be able to get someone like as a guest speaker for us to come through and talk to us. So I'm happy to take some questions. Look at us go smack bang on 60 minutes, team, which is really, really good. So if you do have a question, you can wave at me, put your hand up, or there is also a reactions hand up in the bottom of your screen that you can put like a virtual hand up like this, like me here. And otherwise, if I see you here on the screen, has there been anything in the chat box, Stuart, or others that you might want to address?
No, I've answered absolutely everything. Every comment that's been put in there, I've been getting while you're in there. So nothing, there were no comments that needed addressing or anything like that. It's just, yeah, for people when they end up wanting to do it, one of the biggest was a great comment I will share with you because I want to give her credit. Linda had the great realization, and her comments were, again, it's you need to plan so much of this stuff out before you actually put pen to paper. If you want your book to give you the reach, the outcome, the leverageability, the thing, reach as many people as possible that you want to, it's not about completing your manuscript and then thinking about it. Like, you can, that's workable, but you got to get those things right before you publish, definitely. So got to make sure your cover's on point. You got to make sure your title's going to be really appealing. Your blurb. I said, I just can't believe the importance of that. I mean, think about yourselves. If you've been looking for a book in your local bookshop, what do? You've been attracted to the front cover, yeah, even though they tell us don't judge a book by its cover. And then what do? If you're like me, you turn it over and you read the back. I think 99% of us do. How else do you know if the book's for you? And then what do? You read the first two, think about yourself. You read the first couple of lines, boring, or it doesn't call out to me what I'm interested in, or I can tell this isn't for me. If I'm a small business owner and I see it says for teams of 100 plus, well, I'm not a team of 100 plus. Again, I'll put it back. So know your market, and if you can put something in front of them that they want, it's just a no-brainer.
Love it. Love it. And just now, Stuart, I've popped up the link to the notes. If you want to immediately download my sheet of notes here as your summary, so to type them up, you can just click on that link and it'll take you to my Dropbox file, and then you can download it for yourself. I've reposted the links, but thank you so much. I think, Chris, tips to motivate the writing sessions. I might, like, that could be another topic that I didn't have on the list. So you've given me an idea. I can do top 10 tips to stay motivated during writing. And Janet, you've said creatives don't like to plan, and you're right. Like, inspiration is not kind of available to us consistently, like every day. Oh, we're not inspired. I don't know about you guys, but when I go on holidays, sometimes you like just chill by the pool and whatever. And after about 7 days, I feel like I feel really dumb. I have no creativity in my bones. I'm just totally, my whole brain's asleep. But there is ways around that, where you can get the creative juices flowing. So I think we can definitely, those two things there, motivation and, staying creative, and how you can, I guess, restart it. And for me, if I can share one tip now, for me often is just to get into a session like this and to talk to people and to just start to externalize what I know, because if we're just keeping everything in our brain and we're not talking about it and we're not sharing it with people, often it can become that stale. But the minute I just start speaking and connecting with people or interviewing someone or going on it starts me, okay, I'm into flow now, back again. It's sometimes getting the plane back off the to take off again, just like it doesn't take, it takes a little bit of time to get to cruising altitude. Same thing when we lose that. Yeah, you're welcome, teacher Janet Stephen on my toe. I'm here because you're motivated. Thank you, Terry. Thank you for the session. Thank you so much, guys, for being present, giving us an hour of your time. Hope you found that, some tips, hot tips that you picked up. I always say, if you've spent an hour, what's the 1 or 2 gold nuggets that you're going to take away and implement? Don't waste your time not doing anything. And I really look forward to connecting with you maybe next month. We can be a standing date of learning throughout this process. Beautiful. You're welcome, Susie. Have an awesome day, guys. Happy Friday, and have a great weekend ahead. Bye.